Hello and welcome to another episode of Mind Map. Today's topic of discussion is growth and development. First of all, we will discuss what is growth, then we will discuss what is development, growth versus development, sustainable development and Millennium Development Goals, and lastly, sustainable development goals. Now moving on to the concept of growth. It is an increase in the production of economic goods and services in a given period of time compared with the previous period. Any rise in the productivity marks the increase in the economic growth. Productivity means the tendency of a nation to produce goods and services from its own resources. Increases in capital goods, labor force, technology, and human capital all contribute to economic growth. It can be measured in nominal or real, adjusted to remove inflation terms. Traditionally, economic growth is measured in terms of gross national product or gross domestic product, that is GDP. Now let's discuss about concept of development. It is basically an economic concept that has positive connotations. It is a process that creates growth, positive change in economic, environmental and social component without damaging the resources of the environment. It involves the application of certain economic and technical measures to utilize available resources to instigate economic growth and improve people's quality of life. Development as a tool enabling people to reach the highest level of their ability through granting freedom of action, that is freedom of economic, social and family actions, etc. Now moving on to growth versus development. These terms are often used interchangeably. However, there are several significant differences between these two words. They are: growth is just getting bigger, whereas development is improvement. Growth is termed as a physical change, whereas development is said to be physical as well as social and psychological change. Growth is related to quantitative improvement. Development is related to quantitative as well as qualitative improvement. Growth can be perceived and can be measured accurately, whereas development cannot necessarily be measured and perceived accurately. Now let's discuss about sustainable development and Millennium Development Goals. Sustainable development. It is an approach to economic planning that attempts to foster economic growth while preserving the quality of the environment for future generations. The term sustainable development gained wide popularity after the renowned report Our Common Future was published in 1987. Its primary focus is to protect the environment so that the resources provided by it do not get destroyed. The concept of sustainable development has a focus on economic development, social development and environmental protection for future generations. Millennium Development Goals. The United Nations Millennium Development Goals are 8 goals that UN member states have agreed to try to achieve by the year 2015. It commits world leaders to combat poverty, hunger, disease, illiteracy, environmental degradation, and discrimination against women. Each MDG has targets set for 2015 and indicators to monitor progress from 1990 levels. Now let's discuss about Sustainable Development Goals. The 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015 are also known as Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals or SDGs, which are an urgent call for action by all countries, developed and developing, in a global partnership. The SDGs are: Goal 1. End poverty in all its forms everywhere. Goal 2. End hunger, achieve food security and improved nutrition and promote sustainable agriculture. Goal 3. Ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages. Goal 4. Ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all. Goal 5. Achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls. Goal 6. Ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. Goal 7. Ensure access to affordable, reliable, sustainable and modern energy for all. Goal 8. Promote sustained, inclusive and sustainable economic growth, full and productive employment and decent work for all. Goal 9. Build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization and foster innovation. Goal 10. Reduce inequality within and among countries. Goal 11. Make cities and human settlements inclusive, safe, resilient and sustainable. Goal 12. Ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. Goal 13. take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts. Goal 14. Conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. Goal 15. Protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystems, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reverse land degradation and halt biodiversity loss. Goal 16. Promote peaceful and inclusive societies for sustainable development. Provide access to justice for all and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels. And Goal 17. Strengthen the means of implementation and revitalize the global partnership for sustainable development. Now moving on to criticism of sustainable development goals. Many targets are either excessively vague or are having a bad cost-benefit ratio. There exists a potential inconsistency in the SDGs, particularly between the socio-economic development and the environmental sustainability goals. The goals are non-binding, with each country being expected to create their own national or regional plans, and SDGs are not being based on a comprehensive theoretical framework. Now moving on to practice question. India has experienced persistent and high food inflation in the recent past. What could be the reasons? 1. Due to a gradual switchover to the cultivation of commercial crops, the area under the cultivation of food grains has steadily decreased in the last 5 years by about 30%. 2. As a consequence of increasing incomes, the consumption patterns of the 3. The food supply chain has structural constraints. Which of the statements given above are correct? 1 and 2 only, 2 and 3 only, 1 and 3 only, or 1, 2 and 3? And now mains question. Economic growth and human development need to go hand in hand. Without it, the $5 trillion economy seems a distant dream. Critically examine. So that's all for today. Stay tuned for the next episode. Thanks for watching.